Coming up, Indigenous creatives were front and center at Yaamava's first ever Fashion Daze event. We learn about a sport exciting Native elders. Plus, an official from the Nez Perce Tribe tells us how the Inflation Reduction Act offers big benefits to tribal communities. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Amarawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. Indigenous organizations say they are gearing up for yet another presidential election, even though it's still more than 18 months away. Conversations around the 2024 race started heating up last week after President Joe Biden announced his re-election campaign. In a 3-minute video posted to social media, Biden asked voters to give him more time to, quote, finish the job. Shortly after the announcement, Nick Tilson, who is the CEO of the advocacy organization Indian Collective, cited Biden's record in Native communities. He touted Biden's move to revoke the permits for the Keystone XL pipeline and the historic funding from the Inflation Reduction Act. If successfully re-elected, Biden would be 86 years old at the end of his second term. U.S. Representative Mary Peltola told ICT she supports the president.
Our president is definitely a national elder. He has decades of service. And I think the bulk of his service has been so respectful, and he really cares about our country, and he really leads from a place of love and commitment and good values.
Biden does not currently face any serious challengers as the Democratic Party's pick. The campaign is set to be a repeat of 2020, with former President Donald Trump being the leading candidate for the Republican Party. Judith LeBlanc, the executive director of the Native Organizers Alliance, also weighed in, saying Native people played a pivotal role in the outcome of the 2020 election. She added that Native voter turnout will be critical in the upcoming race. There's a little-known sport taking Native senior citizens by storm, and that's chair volleyball. I had the opportunity to see how when an Arizona tribe held its annual tournament. Take a look. Some of these buses and vans drove elders hundreds of miles for the 2023 Senior Chair Volleyball Tournament hosted by the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community. Serena Padilla is one of the players here. From age 9 until 32, she played softball, but between a knee surgery and getting older, staying active wasn't as easy. That's until chair volleyball.
It really helps your whole body. And you get to laugh, you get to joke, you get to be around other relatives that are older. And the thing is, they're handicapped too. A lot of them are handicapped, and that really can help them.
32 teams competed in this year's tournament. That's more than ever before.
They travel from San Diego, Nevada, Tucson area. Usually we do 24. This year we got 32 teams in, and we're looking to make it bigger.
So how is chair volleyball different than regular volleyball? For starters, they play with these, which are lightweight and easy to balance. The court is 20 feet by 14 feet, which is half the size of a standard court. The net is 5 feet tall. The game is made up of 10-minute matches, or the first team to score 15 points. If a player's chair comes off the ground, it is an automatic point for the opposite team. Players must be 55 years or older to play in this tournament. Many of the players said COVID-19 affected them greatly and said chair volleyball is just one way to reconnect.
I like the social of meeting everyone. We have so much fun. We are competitive, so we do like to play. but it's for fun and it's good to see everybody, all the different tribes that come out.
76-year-old Roberta Johnston is Muskogee Creek. As a young girl, her parents moved her from Oklahoma to Arizona. She says Salt River has become her home.
The community has been so good to me. Have treated me so good, and they just make me feel like part of the family, you know, and it's how I always felt. I teach a senior dance group here, and we're called the Steppers also. Some of the ladies thought, well, why can't we get a team and enter the volleyball? So we did. We had all of our steppers, our dancers, and we started a volleyball team.
What the seniors here want people to know is that chair volleyball might not be what you first think.
It gets intense. You know, I know that when the tournaments or before this started, you know, it was all for fun, and we just had fun doing it. But as the years have passed, and when there are more teams starting to come in, and even like California, it's starting to get a little bit more competitive, more intense. So it's just like, I don't know, you know, you're not really thinking about anything except for me, just like, don't mess up.
So has chair volleyball made a difference for elders wanting to stay social and be active?
Yes, it's keeping them active, healthy, and social.
In Scottsdale, Arizona, Aaliyah Chavez, ICT News. In the end, the Paula Turtles won the championship game. The co-ed team is from the Paula Band of Mission Indians in Southern California. Staying in Arizona, newly released data shows that tribal gaming is setting records. The state's gaming compact requires tribes to contribute a percentage of their revenue to the state. Arizona's gaming department released new data from the first quarter of 2023 showing that more than $111 million has been given. That means the 2023 contributions are on track to beat last year's total by a lot. Just some of the tribes with gaming facilities include the Gila River Indian Community, the Salt River Indian Community, the Ag-Chin Indian Community, the Tohono O'odham Nation, and the Pasquayaqui Tribe. The tribal contributions are divided between different charitable efforts, including emergency services, wildlife conservation, and schools. After sports gambling was legalized in the state, many worried people would turn to their phones instead of going to casinos. Now, the state's gaming department says it's clear. People are still showing up in person. Overall contributions from tribal gaming are close to surpassing $2 billion in total since 2004. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. The Inflation Reduction Act was signed into law in August of 2022. It includes over $720 million in funding for tribal-specific programs, plus unprecedented access to tax incentives and credits for the production of renewable energy. One tribal nation in Idaho is taking full advantage of the opportunity and wants to encourage others to do the same. Here's ICT's editor-at-large Mark Trahant with more.
Welcome, Jesse. I'm just really intrigued by how innovative things have been happening at Nez Perce, particularly in the energy space. Maybe tell us about some of the things going on.
Boy, we started with our first solar project about 3 years ago, maybe a little over 3 years ago. And it was just, we just kind of stumbled upon it, got some funding to do one, and decided to put it in place. But early on, I think, and we're fortunate to have decided that we didn't want to just have a solar installer come in and install them. We wanted from the very beginning to have our own people do that work. So we were lucky enough to get to work with a tax credit investor that was willing to help us establish our own workforce and help train our workforce. So that's really what kind of kicked off the whole thing, was putting our own people to work, because we put almost 50 people to work with that first project, and that's dwindled down a little bit, but not because we didn't have people interested, more just the timing of projects and getting projects funded as we went along now in our third year. But having started that, and then the Inflation Reduction Act coming into play last fall and really kicking into gear this year is going to be is going to be huge for the tribe because of the incentives that they provide directly to tribes now rather than to outside, tax equity folks.
With the Inflation Reduction Act, a lot of tribes are scrambling, trying to figure out what to do now. But this is almost like something waiting for you to apply.
That's where we were real fortunate to have gotten into it when we did, because we're ready. And I feel like getting the message out there to tribes on how big the Inflation Reduction Act is, not only the tax credits going from 26 to potentially 60 or 70%, but for tribes being able to benefit from that direct pay rebate is monumental. We can't scream it loud enough to other tribes to really understand what's going on here. We've been given the opportunity to install energy systems on our reservations at a fraction of the cost of private industry. So it's huge. It's huge for tribes to really need. The tribes just really need to understand that and take the dive into what's going on here, because it's not only unprecedented, but it's almost unbelievable that the language in the Inflation Reduction Act specifically identified tribal governments, and that type of thing just has never happened in the past. And for it to not only all those tax credits to be increased so much, but for tribes to get that direct pay rebate to be able to capitalize on those tax credits directly is it's unheard of.
I want to shift to microgrids because, again, they're kind of ahead of the curve. And when you think about, particularly in the Northwest, all the infrastructure that's been built over the years up to the detriment of salmon, this is a different way of looking at electricity.
It really is. It really is. That's one of the things that we've, again, it wasn't really something that we strategically planned out. We had several facilities on our reservation that we needed to do something with because we've had power outages and I think people call them brownouts, but we needed to address that, and microgrids was the answer for us. So we've started installing some microgrids on specific facilities that we have that we just couldn't lose power. One of them being our wastewater treatment plant, for example. When we lose power there, it's not a good thing to have that much backed up sewage. So we made that one of our focuses. But the microgrids really evolved into something a lot bigger for us when we started understanding really how a microgrid works, and not only in a small sense on one or two facilities, but how that can be applied on a larger scale, which is where kind of the virtual power plant concept came into play. In working with our partners that we have, and they've been involved in virtual power plants all across the country, it just made sense for us that this could really apply to tribes rather than just small little region or communities. So that I feel like that is something that will play a big part in just the development of renewables on reservations all over the country, because it feels like we're standing and we're in the position to take advantage of all this, being tribes, in general, when it comes to all this, the renewables plus the Inflation Reduction Act, the technology of virtual power plants, all of it come together all at the same time. So I feel like with us being scattered around, utilities, big utilities all over the country want what we have, which is large land bases scattered about the country so they can develop distributed energy systems, and we're already set in place to do just that. So it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty exciting time.
I just read a report from the International Energy Administration that said that we're way behind in getting people ready for the types of jobs that are going to be created by the transition to the new energy. And again, you're ahead of that.
The workforce development program that we're sort of putting in place that we started back then, we've had to sort of structure it, because before when we started, we didn't necessarily have a specific workforce development plan in place. We just threw people on the roofs with harnesses, and they were taught how to start putting things into place. But we've gotten a little more sophisticated since then to figure out exactly how we might structure that, because we have a lot of tribes since the beginning that have been wanting to send folks to our reservation to do the same thing, which makes total sense. I feel like that's the way we need to do all of this with other tribes, so that everybody kind of becomes a part of the equation. Because really, it's not something that we feel like benefits specifically Nez Perce Tribe. This is something that's big for tribes all over the country, and we want to help to facilitate that. So,
is there any retooling of education to get people ready for future jobs?
I think there could be. Right now, a lot of our folks that we have, it's doing the install work, and not so much in that sense, but we feel like there's going to be a lot more opportunity for folks to get into other parts of renewables, engineering, where we know that the big issue with a lot of the folks that we have, the younger folks that we because everybody on reservations all over the country talk about wanting to send your kids off to get educations, but they don't really have something to do when they get that education to come back home and work for your people. So I feel like this whole renewable industry is going to provide that opportunity for kids to go off and get educations and have something to come back home to. So that's exciting. That's a big part of what we're hoping to see happen in the near future.
What a message do you have for other tribes?
My message would be for tribes to really get into the Inflation Reduction Act and understand it. One of the biggest things that we see, sort of a detriment to the IRA, is this the whole industry has always been fueled by tax credits, even before the IRA, and so we've always had to use outside tax equity partners to put those projects together, and that was at a 26%. We didn't have any problem finding tax equity partners. But those tax credits have gone from 26 to potentially 70%, and you can only use one side of the coin, not both. You can use the tax equity from an outside tax equity partner standpoint, where they can gain the benefit of those tax credits, or you, the tribe, can take advantage of the rebate portion of it. But you can't do both. So tribes really need to understand, if you allow an outside developer to come in and eat up all those tax credits, it's cutting into your rebate. So that's the biggest message that we need to share with tribes out there, is you really need to work on funding and financing these projects yourself so you can capitalize on the full tax credit and the full rebate, because that potentially allows us to do projects at a fraction of the cost. I mean, if it's a 60 or 70% tax credit and you get a full rebate on that, you're essentially paying 30 or 40 cents on the project as a whole. And that's something that tribes really need to understand. And that's the message that we're trying to share.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That was ICT Editor-at-Large Mark Trahant in Vancouver reporting from the conference called The Values-Driven Economy. The topic under discussion for the event was how Indigenous communities can play a role in the transition to clean energy across North America. For more information on the gathering, hosted by the First Nations Major Project Coalition, visit ictnews.org. We'll be right back. The San Manuel Band of Mission Indians Yaamava Resort and Casino put on its first ever Fashion Daze event. The event was produced by Hollywood publicist Kelly Cutron, who brought Indigenous and non-Indigenous designers to the same runway. ICT's Paris Wise worked in partnership with FNX and has this recap on the event.
The two-day Yaamava Fashion Daze event held poolside runway shows that featured Indigenous designers, including Section 35, Orlando Dugai, Jennifer Younger, and Jamie Okuma. Vogue contributor and writer Christian Allaire led a panel discussion with San Manuel tribal members, prey actress Amber Midthunder, and designer Jamie Okuma.
I'm going to go back to Jamie and Amber because I feel like you guys are both really sort of trailblazing in fields that hasn't in the past been very welcoming to Indigenous people, I will say. You know, Hollywood and mainstream fashion, has long, I think, ignored our culture, but are finally sort of waking up to the beauty of it.
I sat down with Chris to get his thoughts on the current state of Native fashion.
Well, the Native fashion scene has kind of exploded in the past 5 years. It's something I've been covering for about 5 years, and The amount of growth I've seen is crazy, because now, you can find Native designers in virtually every category, whether it be swimwear, makeup, formal wear, streetwear. It's really expanded to just about every category, and I think that's really inspiring to see how people keep channeling their culture into unexpected mediums. So I just hope that continues, really. I think events like this are important because just Indigenous people haven't given platforms to show their work, especially designers in the mainstream fashion world. So an event like this really allows them to show their beautiful work and to highlight what they're doing, which is so interesting, taking traditional clothing and doing it in a modern way. We need to see more of that out in the fashion world.
While Native fashion is rapidly growing in more mainstream spaces, this event helped in creating even more opportunities for designers to share their work.
It's the first time I'm actually showing larger pieces that are handmade by me, like solo on the runway. I've had a few opportunities in the past to accessorize other designers with their work, with their clothing designs. So this is really exciting to have my first big solo show. A lot of what I do, I'm kind of taking traditional elements and trying to make them contemporary. So I feel like each piece has a story, and I hope that what really comes across is like kind of something that is empowering and makes the woman or wearer feel strong. And I have a couple of pieces that are what we call like a tana, a copper shield. And I've kind of made them into these big chest, wearable art pieces. And to me, they represent like strength, empowerment, protection.
The runway is a special place for designers and has been for artists who can now reflect on their careers and the lessons along the way.
When I see my work on the runway, it definitely inspires me. I find myself sometimes it's surreal, but I've learned to embrace the runway, and I think there's a lot of creative freedom that comes with the runway, and it also it inspires me, and it helps me kind of think forward in my design and what's coming next, and it helps me kind of build concepts for collections and stuff like that. So yeah, I get a lot out of it, and I didn't see myself doing runway when I first started, and I never thought I would be doing it, but here I am, and I've learned to embrace it a lot.
Oh gosh, I've been doing this for 12 years now, going on 12 years. And I just progressed slowly. I'm self-taught, and I just do what I feel like I want to do. I don't know how else to explain it, but the basis of my design is based on my upbringing, my cultural background, and it really speaks to elegance and beauty in a very intricate way within our ceremonies. And so I sort of create and design things sort of based on that. I think I'm able to tell a story without literally taking a motif from a story or a traditional way of doing something and putting it onto a garment. Rather, I take it apart and put it back together in my own way with just really intricate beading and embroidery. A lot of people told me that I couldn't do fashion, that it was going to be really hard. Yes, it is really hard, but I love it so much that I'm still doing it after so many years, and I just constantly learn new techniques, new things, and just try to keep evolving.
Jamie Okuma also carries lessons from when she began creating art at the age of 5 years old. She says her art is not a brand, but a reflection of who she is as a person.
Oh yeah, don't give up. I would get really frustrated. And it's funny, my mom told me, my grandma, her mother, did the same thing. Because we knew they were artists, she went to her when she would get frustrated to help me draw this. And she's like, no, you need to figure it out. I went through the same thing, and I specifically remember this one time. I was so frustrated because I couldn't get it right, and she was like, I can show you how I do it, but it's not like, you need to work it out. And which is great. Like, it forces you to learn and not have something done for you. Our people do it the best, I feel, because we know what we have. And it's so amazing to get this type of support, because really not too many people are doing that. It's finally getting there, but our own people really help push that. And events like this obviously is like visibility. We're just looking at it as Native fashion and not all the other differences out there, but within our people. But we're all together, like, pushing that forward and higher, and bringing more awareness, and then we can step into the little nuances of those things. It's not just Native, it's me and my life, and then there's branches of that. So I mean, there's a lot involved to get to a design or to a collection. There's so much behind that.
In Southern California, Paris Wise, ICT News.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.